Race for Rhinos, proudly hosted by Botswana and sponsored by Botswana Tourism. The inaugural air race for rhinos in Botswana was a pioneering feat of epic proportions to raise awareness in what can only be described as a country of epic proportions.
Any event like this requires a huge amount of manpower and logistics. And normally we would have an event like this at a town where there's a flying club and a whole support structure. Here in Botswana, the Matsieng Flying Club, specifically guys like Gilliam Knipe and Gerard Barnard, and of course the Bed brothers from the Vet Drilling has been unbelievable. I mean, Henty and Rudy and Jan has pulled all the stops. Awesome how everybody is pitching in and helping out to make this work. And then of course the Botswana government is also amazing.
We trying to make a dream from Chris, Gilliam and Gerard come true. We've got to put up 320 tents. Botswana Tourism and their team has done wonders. They've put up the camp military style to look, everything needs to look neat. We need to protect the area. And we've got to do all this in 30-knot winds.
We've decided that we are going to go ahead with this location, and we're going to use vehicles to trample or to roll the runways and the taxiways flat. We do believe that it will dry out enough by Thursday when the first competitors will be arriving. The towers has arrived, so we're putting up the finishing tower as well as the control tower.
Thousands of man-hours went into the setup of the camp, and thousands of hours would be spent in the air. But first, the intrepid pilots on their flying machines would have to arrive. Arrival day, 65 aircraft, 130 pilots and navigators arrived with an astounding array of aircraft in one of the most awe-inspiring parts of the globe. The pilots could not wait to take off.
This one is obviously very unique because it's here in this very interesting part of the world with baobabs on the edge of the Makati Pan. It's really special, and it answers to the original question, are we looking forward to it? It's an unequivocal yes.
The latest GoPro cameras were going to fly along, 30 of them in all, to capture every aerial maneuver, turn and landing. The locals' buy-in, though, was vital to the success of the Race for Rhinos.
And what we did was we negotiated with the community in order to allow for us to use this site that is a National Heritage Site. It's a site which is used for initiations and various types of heritage. It's also got some very old walls which are similar to the ruins of Great Zimbabwe. I think a lot of pilots have gone and done guided tours, and it's something we couldn't have Race for Rhinos without Lekubu and these beautiful baobabs and these beautiful rocks.
Botswana features grasslands and savannas where elephants and antelope roam. Northern Botswana's delta, however, is the most popular tourist destination in the country. As the sun rose over the Makati Pans, the pilots and navigators were preparing for the 2015 Botswana Race for Rhinos.
I think finding the turn points might be a bit tricky, especially a couple on the later part of the circuit.
And the old man's the navigator, so I'll get all the blame.
Exactly.
And we think if we see a large body of water, we know we've gone too far north, and we'll turn around.
Because that was like the border, I think.
Yeah, then we'll go home.
Then we go home.
Yeah.
We're just here to get some experience and see how it is to be part of them.
We're going to have fun for sure, and a lot of aircrafts. We're going to get to see a lot of aircrafts and amazing pilots.
The start of day one at Kubu Island. Today, the fastest aircraft start first and the slowest line up last, a truly unique air race. Each of the planes were thoroughly prepared by the respective teams and were ready to do battle.
Okay, runway 11, ons is op 11, left hand turn out. Ons moet vlieg tot op die einde van die runway voor ons turn. Okay. So die ene runway clear. Okay, dis arrival and landing, ons sal dit nou check.
Botswana's president Ian Khama dropped the flag for race number 1. Eddie Foster and Henry Coetzee on their way, followed in quick succession by all the faster entrants in the field. SA Flyer magazine publisher Guy Leach and navigator Graham Worth took off in their Piper PA32R. Leach is a familiar face at air races in South Africa. The team of Gwilym Knipe and Gerard Barnard in their Cessna 210, they form part of the Botswanan participants and also assisted with the organisation of the event. The handicap-style race is based on the aircraft's airspeed, which is used to formulate a handicap, and that's why the slowest plane in the field has an opportunity to beat the fastest. The route on day 1 was over 299 nautical miles and featured 4 turn points with markers which had to be turned around between 200 and 400 feet to ensure that officials would be able to get a handle on every race number.
Wat is ons vlieg? Ja, het gaan se 2000 voet per grond. Waar? Tot 3000 voet.
There's the runway. Transmit the runway there. There it is, yeah. Okay. Can you see this planet? I can see the runway left to right. I can't see the marker beacon yet.
The right control.
Okay, here's the tower. We're going to watch out for this tower. Okay. So here is the land, you see, right here. Yeah, the one we're looking for. Okay, and there's the...
Great tower, right, 15 minutes out.
The second turn point was at the famous Baines Baobab landmark. The 7 baobabs are millenniums old and inside the pan remarkable for its upside-down trees, which are hundreds of thousands of years old. Overhead, race number 1 all the way from Zanin is Eddie Foster and his navigator Henry Coetzee in their Beechcraft 58. On the way to Baines Baobab, Knipe and Barnard.
Pannetjie, ons is net links van ons. Jy kan so 'n bietjie links weer gaan vir my galie. Ons. En daar.
At Matopi, the race was starting to take shape, and from here the teams headed south to Tama, turn point 4 on the eastern side of the cut line.
Daai, reg, net reg. Kyk, ons is nou daar. Ons gaan nou daai, hier waar pannetjie daai baai. Ja, dan gaan ons vir daai punt draak kry. Nee, daar. Ek moet 'n bietjie links kom. Nee, nee, hier is daai punt, dis reg. Ja.
At the finish line at Kubu Island, the first planes were expected back, but in typical handicap style, that would not materially have affected anything, as the times had to be added up and the handicap subtracted. The intense heat, 43 degrees at one stage, as well as the flat Botswana terrain with very few features to navigate off, took its toll in the hot cockpits. It was tough, even for the best Southern African pilots out there.
It was a good flight. It was difficult with the navigation and the flat terrain. We had to use all our wits. We flew higher than we normally fly in other races. I think it paid off.
But in general, lovely day. We found everything. We're quite fortunate we followed them, so we had a lot going our way. Airplane's going beautiful, and we're glad we're in a fast airplane. So we're done now. We're going to go and drink beer. But life's good.
And it proved to be a triumphant day for the father and son combination of Bischoff and Bischoff, with second place going the way of Beaton and Daly. The top 3 places were rounded out by Van der Merwe and Randall. Botswana captivated the pilots, particularly those who made their debuts.
Well, from my side, I think it's amazing impressive. I mean, this is a first, and this is the first time that we participate in an air race like this, and so obviously everything is new and fun to us, and yeah, I think they went through a lot of trouble to do what they did here, and we're grateful for it, and we're grateful to be here.
In aviation sport, safety is paramount, and a helicopter was on standby 24/7. A Piper PA-28 got into engine trouble and radioed in after an emergency landing. The safety crew were dispatched and the aircraft was located.
After the second turn point, we've got a rough engine and we were turning back. The rough engine, we tried to lean out and check the mags, everything was fine, and the EGT dropped, and yeah, we decided to come back and we made it to here, and rather land here than to try and make it back to Cuba.
In retrospect, a good decision. An added attraction at the race for Rhinos was skydiving for participants and officials.
Well, it was my second time doing it, but I was just as much as a coward as I was the first time. But it was amazing, so free, so amazing. The plan's beautiful. Everyone needs to come and do this.
The skydivers hailing from South Africa and Botswana took the breath away and showed just how professional this sport has become. The locals do not often have a chance to do tandem jumps, and it was certainly a very popular way to spend the afternoon. Jumping with high-speed canopies, the skydivers landed literally at the feet of the spectators on the ground. Graham Field was the skydive coordinator, and this was saying goodbye from the door of the helicopter. South African airshow pilot Menno Parsons, as always, impressed with his skill and dedication. Not only was Menno a sponsor, but he also brought along his Mustang P51D, in which he flew several breathtaking displays. And he personally took a group of underprivileged children for a flip in his immaculate Dakota DC-3. Well done, Menno, and thank you. As the sun started drawing water, war stories were retold and relived. The Mahari Pans is a special place to see the end of a day, and that meant that day 2 was nearer as well. On day 2, Mother Nature had her own surprise in store.
The wind today is going to make it really interesting. The wind is about 15 to 20 knots. And especially on the crosswind legs, the guys are going to have to compensate for that. And I think we're going to see some interesting results tonight.
With the game plan changing to suit the conditions, the planes lined up for a much tougher second day. President Khama had a word or two before it was time to see the first planes depart. Two Huskies in the hands of Botswana pilots departed first. The Pans certainly provided a very different and spectacular start to day 2. Veteran airshow pilot Nigel Hopkins racing in Osiris shows us just how it should be done, just above terra firma. The pressure would be on for leaders Henny and Dandre Bischoff.
Okay, en tyd. Agrat ons.
We decided to do it as part of our sports and adventure tourism diversification so that we could showcase all the things that we do outside of traditional tourism. One of those being aviation, and the Botswana's welcoming aviation tourism. And we did it also for another reason, so all the people that are coming to Botswana flying their planes would see how beautiful it is and hopefully come back many, many times.
Day 2 required the teams to complete 303 nautical miles, which translates to more than 560 kilometers, from Kubu to Orapa, to Kama Rhino Sanctuary, to Shashe Dam, the town of Maseke, and then straight back to Kubu.
Okay. daai een daar agter. Ek sien ons gaan so 'n bietjie reg van hom. Daai grasveld tussen die linkerkant se van en hier so reg, jy moet tussen hom deurgaan.
Kyk.
Ek weet nie of dit daai van of hierdie een.
There's this pan here with that little thing. You fly straight over there, so you're on track. It's blowing us strong, eh? Keep going left.
Keep going left, okay.
Yeah, fly over that pan. Over it. There, look there. Over it.
Okay.
Get left of it.
Okay, well, just ease it over.
Yeah. We should be there at 6 minutes. See the cone?
End of the runway. End of the runway.
I see an aeroplane here.
What about the airplane? I don't know what's on the other end of this place. But...
Here's the cone right here.
Okay, take it over the cone. Going to be bumpy over the mine, and so maybe one can climb a little bit on the other side of the mine and start descending again, I guess.
Paddy, you got to concentrate. But
just put a thing there.
don't worry, you got to fly that.
Okay, I'll just fly that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ons net die spoed 'n bietjie afbloei, anders dan is die draai baie ros skerp.
Okay.
Maar ons nou net die merkers
Ja, hier is die punt van die okay, ons is sharp. Daar was die merker.
Ek sien nie die merker nie. Is dit hulle nou? Ek het hulle geskuif dink jy.
Ek weet nie, maar ons roep in, nee.
Dit is hulle nie.
Ja, daar's die banner.
Race 23, Rapa. 64, radio 63.
Time.
Time.
Akapai. Okay. Reg deur die myn, nee, reg deur die myn.
Ja, is in die wind en nou hierdie so.
So into the teeth of the wind and right over Orapa mine, which produces 11 million carats a year.
You hold the map, I've got it, because you're going to come into my side. Okay. That's all yours. Where's the beacon? There it is, there in front of the... Okay, it's underneath us, huh? I'll get him. Can you see him then? No. No, I don't see him.
Van de andere kant van die bent nou, die kant. Zo ten op. Ja. We gaan nou bij dam terug. Hou de door voor de niet op.
Can't tell you, can't give you a fix. I could lead you up the garden path.
There's a big road there on my right.
Crossing us like that. This is crossing us like that.
Okay. This road is crossing us like that. This is looking very scary.
No, it's not looking scary, so I really want you to turn left a little bit.
No, I've been turning left. I'm left the track.
So tussen hierdie blinkdakke, dis ons rigting. Hierdie blinkdak en daai en ek sê sy effens se terug van links af. Okay, so tussen die twee blinkbakke deur. Okay, 'n bietjie links deur. Hou net so, ek wil net kyk waar ons moet terug. Op daai teerpaai, grondpaadjie daar voor ons.
What's our heading?
049.
What's the altitude here?
Yeah. 43, let's get down. That's right.
Okay, folks, call Rhino.
The Education Center is there to conscientize students, especially the young ones, because we believe they need to be told such things about environmental education and conservation at their tender age. So it is to conscientize them on environmental issues and issues on conservation. Mostly they do hands-on activities to try and make them aware of nature and that we coexist with the environment and they should take care of it. So in that way, we hope that as they grow as adults, they will appreciate the nature, the surrounding, and the animals within the nature that they live in.
Ja, hier kom die ander vier in. Ons is op oplyn. Dis oplyn. Nou moet ons die keerpad soek, die klein dorpie op die keerpad. Hier kom die keerpad, Oor die middel van daai eetvergang gaan daar. Say 2 minutes to Rhino. Nee, moet nie ronddraai nie. Nou moet ons daai pad volg. Jy moet my asseblief die pad volg met jou vinger.
Ek het hom, maar Simpo, daar's 'n deel regs van hierdie stukkie en 'n deel links. Ons moet tussen daai twee gaan.
Is jy seker?
Yes. Ou pos en 'n Simpo waar daai grasie uitkom. Dis hulle. 37. Bye.
Is dit hulle daai?
Yes, ek sien die vlag.
Maar daar's 'n chopper.
Dis 'n chopper.
Ons sal draai heading.
Ja. Heading 55. En wag. Roep net in.
23, Rhino.
En tyd. Time en dan draai ons. Heading 55.
From the Rhino Park, the Shashe Dam was the next turn point. From there it would be on to the town of Moseke with the end in sight. The officials were dropped off early by chopper and then settled in while the pilots all chose to come in very low as there were very few distinguishing features in the countryside to guide them. Jacques Willemse and Aviation Force were third overnight and going low level.
Yes, dis jammer was dit nie ondergesit die jou pad nie. Dis ook my man ons gevang het. Hy is beter minder wind hier onder. Ja, nee, ons het ons reis wegge.
Mag nie vir jou sê wat jy gisterand gemaak het, hoe kom my loop tot tyd na.
Ja, ons het nie verskil gemaak het.
Rhino Red 39 is 2 minutes out.
Hopkins and Beamish and their beautifully decked out Cyrus moving up from 14th to 5th. At Kubu, the first plane home would be the overall winner, and there was an expectant air at the line. Spotted first, it was the Bishops in their Beechcraft F-33. Second plane home was the RV-7 of Ryan Beaton and Patrick Daly. Third and fourth was a triumph for the Beechcraft 58s of Willemse and Force and Myburg and Barry respectively. The Bishops showed off great navigation and management of their aircraft throughout the race.
Just want to say I'm glad we're here. A bit hazy today, but organisation, very well done to everybody involved, and yeah, very enjoyable.
Yesterday was a bit better. I thought it was better navigating on the pans. Today there was long stretches of nothing, and the winds were up to about 20 knots on some stretches, so it was a bit difficult to get the right settings, but it was great fun.
We didn't have the best. I think we could have won it. We flew well. We flew really well. And it's what a special place to fly, Kubu Island, World Heritage Site, and great to have the President of the country here with us. I mean, awesome.
Great organisation, guys, really great. I really appreciate that.
I think we did well. We had some good tactics today as well, and we used the winds well, and that helped us made up a lot of time and a lot of places.
No, don't say we get lost. We went a little bit off track, but it was tough. It was really, really tough with the wind, you know, and there's nothing really to navigate from. It was good fun. Overall, it was really good.
Television was extremely difficult, you know, even after I've lost one of my maps. So one leg without a map, and she was really cross with me.
Some awesome weekend. We had a great time. I think everybody had a great time. Good race. Luckily, everybody's safe. That's the main thing.
The inaugural Botswana Race for Rhinos was a superbly organised event, and more so for the tight competition and good spirit that the competition produced and maintained. Race director Chris Breers was an exhausted but happy man.
I have had no negative comments at all. I think everybody is loving it. I think they all understand where we are and what logistics it took to put this together. I think it's also brilliant, the spirit that with what they accept, the odd cold shower and the bit of wind. But yeah, look where we are. It's brilliant.
Brilliant indeed, and that was the overriding sentiment from the teams and the officials who made it all happen. Botswana Tourism and the Botswana government take a bow. The support was outstanding and well noted. The trophies would take pride of place, but there was more pride in the fact that the Flyers were making a stand for an endangered species in Africa in the race for rhinos. Third place Philomsa and Force. Second went to Beaton and Daly. And the wine spoils went to father and son, Henny and Dandre Bischoff. Race for Rhinos was proudly hosted by Botswana and sponsored by Botswana Tourism.